welcome to 𝗬𝗧 program for banking awareness. Today we are going to discuss about evolution of Indian banking system for banking and other competitive examinations. Okay, like banking awareness or banking system is helpful for IBPS, SBI, RBI, NABARD examinations. Okay. So, in this sense we are learning about Indian banking system. Okay. So, Indian banks were basically a commercial banks. Okay. So, 70% of Indian banking system is handled by commercial banks itself. So, we are going to learn today so how these banks were established, when these banks were established, and how the government of India has nationalized the commercial banks during 1969 or 1980. Okay. So, we are going to learn about history of banking as well as nationalization of Indian banks. Okay. Later we will step into the regulatory bodies like Reserve Bank of India, SEBI, IRDA, PFRDA or AMFI, etc., etc. So, in this criteria of banking awareness, so the regulator for banks is Reserve Bank of India. Okay, following. So, in this class we will be learning about banking system as well as about RBI also. Okay. So, first of all we will discuss about how the banks were established in India. So, which is the first bank in India? So, the first bank in India is Bank of Hindustan, which was established in the year 1770, okay, at Kolkata. So, this is the first model bank established in India, modern bank in the sense which is using the paper system for recording the transactions, as it is the bank which accepts deposits and offers loans to the customers. So, the recording used to be takes place in the passbook as well as the banks will maintain a ledger kind of things. So, these are used in the modern banking system, and the first modern banking system in India is Bank of Hindustan, which was established in the year 1770. But this bank is not working now. Okay. It was failed in the year 1829 itself due to some financial crisis. Okay. And then later the British government has established 3 presidency banks in India, which were managed from London. Okay. These presidency banks were established in Calcutta during 1806, Madras during 1840 and Bombay during 1843. Okay. And these banks were established in a provinces, in a British provinces. Okay. So, out of total 53 provinces of Britishers, okay, major 4 provinces are Calcutta, Bombay, Madras and Delhi, northern provinces of Delhi. But the banks were established in the south, okay, like Calcutta, Madras and Bombay. Okay. So, these were the successful banks which were functioning in those days out of the indigenous banks. Indigenous banks means the oldest banks, the ancient banks which were established by Indian merchants like 𝗧𝗏𝗏s, Marwadis, etc., etc. Okay, fine. So, compared to those banks, the presidency banks were working well, when they were functioning very good. Okay. In the year 1921, during non-cooperation movement, the British government has decided to merge these 3 presidency banks together, okay, and named it as Imperial Bank of India. And the Imperial Bank of India after independence has become State Bank of India, okay, that is known to everyone. Okay. So, therefore, the State Bank of India was nationalized, means undertaken by the government of India on 1st July 1955. So, this is the established date of State Bank of India. Okay, following. So, this is a brief discussion about history of banking. Later you see other banks, okay, which were established by British Bengal merchants or by Indian people, like indigenous banks, like you see Allahabad Bank, which was established in the year 1865. Okay. It is also called as Allahabad Bank of India. Okay. So, Allahabad or Allahabad is in Uttar Pradesh, okay, which is also called as Triveni Sangamam, and the Allahabad Bank is headquarters are in Mumbai, okay, fine, not in Uttar Pradesh. Okay. So, kindly have a note of it, and this bank is the oldest bank which is functioning successfully even today. So, it is one of the oldest joint stock banks like State Bank of India, which was established in the year 1865. So, before independence, okay, this bank was established, okay, fine. It is the one of the oldest banks after State Bank of India. Later you see we speak about HSBC Bank, okay. So, HSBC is a foreign bank of in India, okay. So, which came to India, which was incorporated in India during 1869 at Bengal itself. Okay. So, Bengal is the most important provinces for Britishers, okay, fine. So, therefore, all the corporations, banks, private limited companies, okay, like maybe East India Company also, okay, were established in the Bengal provinces itself. So, therefore, HSBC also came to India, okay, fine, and incorporated their office as a first foreign bank of India in Bengal at Kolkata during 1869, okay, fine. So, HSBC is the first foreign bank in India, okay, established in India. So, what is the full form of HSBC here? Okay, so, HSBC means Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation. Okay, so, this Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation is one of the largest banks in the world. Okay, its headquarters are in London, okay, not in Hong Kong or Shanghai. Okay, so people will confuse that HSBC Hong Kong and Shanghai means it will be in the China. Okay, so therefore, the bank may be headquarters may be in China, but HSBC headquarters were there in London. Okay, fine. So, it is the first foreign bank established in India. Later you see there were other banks also established in India, like you see Punjab National Bank. Okay, so, Punjab National Bank is the first indigenous bank established directly by Indians. Okay, it is established at Lahore on 19th May 1894. Okay, during 1895 the bank came into action. Okay, so, the bank started functioning during 1895, but it is incorporated in the year 1894, okay, at Lahore, and the Lahore is in Pakistan right now. So, therefore, Punjab National Bank, which is an indigenous bank established by Indians and successfully functioning even today, okay, following. So, its headquarters were being shifted to New Delhi during 1948, that is after independence. Okay. So, Punjab National Bank is the second largest public sector bank in IBPS category. Okay, fine. When we include even SBI, okay, so State Bank of India is the first the largest public sector bank in India, and the second will be the Bank of Baroda, and the third will be Punjab National Bank. If we exclude the SBI from IBPS category, okay, instead of banking and personal selection examinations category, okay, fine, the first will be Bank of Baroda, the second will be the Punjab National Bank. Okay. And therefore, nearly there were 1200 banks functioning in India after independence. Okay, so during 1947 to 1958, there were nearly 1200 banks functioning in India. Okay, so the government of India could not able to handle the more number of banks, like the cooperative banks or the commercial banks, the agricultural banks, the indigenous banks. Okay, fine. So, likewise, so the different types of banks could not be handled or managed by government of India, because okay, these were established by indigenous people and they were functioning in a limited period, okay, in a limited area even. Okay, so therefore, the government of India has gone for a concept of mergers and acquisitions or else nationalization of banks. Okay, so mergers and acquisitions has taken place during 1958, okay, following, and the nationalization of banks, okay, has taken place since 1955 itself, and the first public sector banks to be nationalized was State Bank of India during 1955. In the year 1958 and 59, State Bank of India plus associate banks were being nationalized. This is very important concept. Okay. Later, okay, the nationalization was taken place during 1969 and 1980. Okay, fine. So, the government of India has thought, instead of establishing their own banks, it is better to undertake the already existing private banks. Okay, following. So, this is what the basic meaning of nationalization. Okay. So, nationalization or public sector banks are the same. Okay. So, in simple words, what is nationalization? Okay. Nationalization is the process of taking a private industry or private assets into public ownership by a central or state government. Okay. So, the government of India has passed an ordinance, okay, during 1955 or 1969 and 1980, okay, fine, for undertaking of private commercial banks, okay, and made it as the public sector banks. Okay. So, this is what the basic meaning of nationalization. Okay, following. Next. So, nationalization of banks, you see, basically we speak about Banking Regulation Act of 1949. Okay. You remember two things. One is Banking Regulation Act 1949 and another one is Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. These were very, very important. Okay. So, nationalization of banks has taken place according to RBI Act 1934 or Banking Regulation Act 1949 will be the question repeatedly asked in the banking examinations, okay, like POs or clerks. Okay, the students who prepare basically, okay, fine, will get confused. So, nationalization of banks takes place as per Banking Regulation Act 1949. Okay, and the nationalized banks or private banks or any other scheduled or non-scheduled banks will follow the rules and regulations of Reserve Bank of India according to RBI Act 1934. Okay, following. So, basically you see in the year 1949 Banking Regulation Act came into action. Then in the year 1955 nationalization of State Bank of India has taken place on 1st July. Okay. So, 1st July will be the date of birth for State Bank of India. So, before 1955 SBI was called as Imperial Bank of India. Okay. So, Imperial Bank of India was the previous name of State Bank of India. In the year 1959, 58, 59, okay, fine, nationalization of 8 SBI subsidiaries has taken place. Okay. So, 8 SBI subsidiary banks, also called as SBI company banks or SBI associate banks, were taken place and were there limited to 7. Okay. Later it was limited to 5 and recently it is very important now. Okay. Recently 5 associate banks of SBI were completely merged with in SBI. So, the SBI is the one and only bank now, there is no associate banks. These associate banks were made part of SBI during 1958-59. Okay. Now, they were made completely, okay, as part of State Bank of India. So, partial merger and complete merger took place recently on 1st April 2017. This is very important for the upcoming examinations, okay, fine, the people who are preparing for these IBPS Gramina banks, nothing but regional rural banks, okay, maybe assistants or that is office assistants or officer scale 1 categories, okay, fine. So, the people will be having banking awareness in the mains section, okay, for these examinations. So, as part of banking current affairs, this question will be asked: how many banks were nationalized, on which date it was being merged, completely merged within SBI, okay, following. And coming to the nationalization of banks during 1969, you see 14 commercial banks were nationalized during 1969 on 19th July, okay, following. So, 19th July 1969 total 14 commercial banks were nationalized with capital 50 crores. If any bank is having 50 crores of capital or capacity, that bank can be undertaken by the government of India. Okay. If it is less than that, okay, the government won't be taking undertaking it into the part of nationalization, okay, following. And the same thing occurred in the year 1980 also, okay. So, nationalization of 6 more banks has taken place, okay, during 1980, okay, fine, during 14th of April 1980, okay, and the capital was 200 crores. If any bank is having 200 crores of capital or capacity, okay, of that is total assets, that bank can be nationalized. If it is less than that, okay, fine, it won't be, because, okay, fine, during 69 50 crores, during 1980 200 crores was the limit given, okay, for nationalization, because those banks with major assets, okay, will not go for failures or bankruptcy. So, that is why, okay, the amount was fixed to 50 crores during 1969 and 200 crores during 1980. Next, nationalization has taken place during 1960 with the 14 banks, which is known as first phase of nationalization. Okay. So, during which the 14 banks are like this: Allahabad Bank or Allahabad Bank, Bank of Baroda, Bank of India, Bank of Maharashtra, Canara Bank, Central Bank of India, Dena Bank, Indian Bank, Indian Overseas Bank, Punjab National Bank, Syndicate Bank, UCO Bank, Union Bank and United Bank of India. Okay, following. And the 13th one you see the Union Bank. Okay. So, during before independence, pre-independence era, during 1839, Union Bank of India was established, okay, by few merchants, and this bank was failed in 1848 itself. So, within 9 years of time, okay, this bank was collapsed, okay, and the 13th one you see Union Bank is different from the old one. That was a Union Bank of India, and this one is simple a Union Bank. Okay, following. So, this Union Bank in India was established, okay, during 1980s, okay, 1890s, following, as one of the commercial banks. Next, nationalization of 6 more banks has taken place during 1980s, and those 6 banks are Andhra Bank, Corporation Bank, OBC, Oriental Bank of Commerce, okay, Punjab and Sindh Bank, as well as Vijaya Bank. So, these are the very important banks which were nationalized during 1980. Okay, following. And the 6th one was a new Bank of India. This new Bank of India was failed during 1993. So, therefore, it was merged with Punjab National Bank itself. Okay. So, in the examination it will be asked, which is the first public sector bank to be merged with another public sector bank is New Bank of India. Okay. Or else the question will be, when was the New Bank of India was collapsed or failed to function, okay, following during 1993. Okay. So, this is the thing which happened, okay, fine, in the evolution of banking. Okay. So, in 1980, 6 banks were nationalized, but only 5 were remained, okay, one was collapsed. And later during 2004, IDBA was nationalized and made as commercial bank. So, this IDBA, Industrial Development Bank of India, was given a commercial bank status during 2004. So, IDBA was actually established in the year 1964. Okay. So, 1964, after 40 years, during 2004, this was given a commercial bank, and IDBA is a regulator for industrial banks in India. Okay, following. So, as part of industrial banks, it offers large scale loans to industries and also offers the current account or fixed deposit accounts to the industrial people, the corporate people. From 2004 onwards, IDBA started offering, okay, normal banking, okay, commercial banking, that is accepting deposits and lending loans to the common man, okay, is the meaning of commercial banks. Okay. So, this was offered since 2004 also, and finally, in the year 2013, on 19th November, Bharatiya Mahila Bank was established. Okay. So, Bharatiya Mahila Bank was the first all women's bank in India. Okay. So, this was established in the year 2013 on 19th November, the birthday of Indira Gandhi, because Indira Gandhi, all we know that she was the first woman Prime Minister of India as well as the first woman Finance Minister of India. Okay. And she is the lady, iron lady, okay, behind successful or nationalization of banks in India. Okay. So, the Indian banks are successfully functioning even today. Okay. It is only, okay, due to the innovative or thoughts of Indira Gandhi. Okay, and she is behind, okay, the success of Indian banks. Okay, because she thought that if private banks will continue in such a way, okay, the people won't be depositing in the banks, or the banks could not able to serve the basic needs of a common man. If it is being nationalized, if it is being undertaken by the government, automatically the people will believe in banks, and the banks can be expanded to nook and corner of the country. Okay. So, rural people will also get the banking facilities. In such a way, she thought and nationalized 14 banks in 1969 and 6 banks in the year 1980. So, she, on her remembrance, we established All Women's Bank, okay, on her birthday. Okay, following. And this BMB was also, okay, being merged completely within State Bank of India on 1st April 2017. Okay. So, 5 associate banks of SBI plus Bharatiya Mahila Bank was also merged within State Bank of India, okay, on 1st April 2017. Okay. Next. So, at present, okay, so what is the total number of public sector banks in India? So, it is SBI plus 5 associate banks and plus 14 banks in 1969 plus 5 banks in the year 1980 and plus IDBI and 1 Bharatiya Mahila Bank. So, total 27 public sector banks were there in India, and out of these 27 public sector banks, okay, 6 banks were merged within SBI, that is 5 associate banks and as well as 1 BMB. So, now the total banks comes to 21 public sector banks. So, in the year 2017 examinations, this will be the major question, okay, for maybe for IBPS exams, maybe for railways exams, maybe for insurance exams or any other staff selection commission or state public service commission exams, this will be the major question. Okay, fine. How many banks were merged within SBI and how many public sector banks were there in India right now? Okay, will be the question here. The total number of private banks in India are 43 banks, okay, which are functioning successfully in India. Okay, out of which some are largest private banks, like you see ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, Federal Bank. Okay, so these are the largest private banks functioning in India. Okay, next it is Gramina banks. Okay, or we can also call it as regional rural banks. So total number of Gramina banks are 56 and the total number of foreign banks are 44. Okay, so 44 foreign banks we have, 56 Gramina banks and 43 private banks and 21 public sector banks. Earlier it was 27 public sector banks and now it is 21. Okay, so this is about the nationalization of banks in the present scenario. Okay, in the examination point of view, sometimes you see the recent trends of banking awareness will also be asked. Like you see, what are the new private banks licensed by Reserve Bank of India? Okay, so like you see, IDFC and Bandhan are the two new private banks established in India. Okay, following. So this is very, very important for examination point of view. Okay, so IDFC or Bandhan Bank. Okay, so Bandhan Bank basically from Kolkata and IDFC is based in Mumbai. So these are the two new private banks, okay, established in India during 2015 and 16 respectively. Okay, so remember these things. So in the coming classes also we will coming sessions also we will discuss about this. Okay, fine, regarding private banks or regarding Gramina banks, etc, etc, etc. Okay, so coming to the regulator of Indian financial system, you see, so we have basically very important regulators like RBI, SEBI, IRDAI, PFRDAI and AMFI. Okay, so among these, RBI is the regulator for banks and NBFCs. Okay, so it is very, very important for IBPS exams, and other regulators are also very, very important because it is the bank which not only performs traditional functions like accepting deposits or lending loans, it also offers other financial activities, okay, other financial services, okay, like insurance, salaries or wages, okay, or even you can make demat account, okay, you can make transactions of securities market, what SEBI is doing, okay, what the Bombay Stock Exchange or National Stock Exchange is doing. Okay, fine, in such a way. So what not, the other regulators are also being as part of banking. Okay, so it is the Reserve Bank of India which will, okay, regulate the any kind of monetary terms in India. Okay, so today we will discuss about RBI also, okay, following in the next coming session. Okay, so as of now, so it is the nationalization of banks we have discussed. Okay, thank you.